Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to Drive Reloaded, the channel that aims to put you back into the driver's seat of your own life. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back, and if we haven't convinced you to subscribe yet, well, just click the button already. And I believe that this show is one that will definitely convince you to subscribe. All the odds would suggest that my next guest should not be the man that he is today. Born in one of the toughest areas of Khayelitsha, what we call here in South Africa a township, he was faced with the stereotypical challenges that come from being or living in a township, and these include being exposed to drugs in every single corner, or gangsterism, and this is just to name a few. If you were born in Khayelitsha and you were a young man, chances are you would end up in jail, on drugs, or even dead. But not Zandisile. He decided to go against the status quo, going from just being an below average student in high school, and I should know because I was in the same high school as him, to being an A+ student. And not only that, to further on his studies and get his MBA. Yes, I said it. He then became a lecturer at a very young age, co-founded a logistics company, HWM Logistics, and now newly a CEO of his own company, Moving Chronicles. He's an entrepreneur at heart, and what I would like to call our very own Black Bill Gates. In as much as his material achievements are very great, they are not as the only impressive thing about him. What I like about him the most is the fact that he was able to transcend from the challenges that faced him, literally becoming somebody who believes in himself and definitely inspires all of us to do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Zandisile Mkubukeli. Hi, Zandi.
Hi, Zia.
How are you?
Hi to our lovely guest. I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the show. That was a long introduction, I must say. And I'm very, I took time because, the person that you are you're such an inspiring person. You can't literally, words fail to describe or to explain who you are and where you come from. Tell us a little bit more about the young man that grew up in Khayelitsha. What was happening? What was going on in his mind?
Wow. Where do I start? I grew up in a place called Graceland in Khayelisha, where our only role models were gangsters, and we had richer gangsters than employed people. There were no business people around us. There were no doctors. There were no lawyers. If they were there, they were washed away by the notorious gangsters. So growing up, we looked up to them, Yeah. So I faced peer pressure a lot. I smoked drugs, tick, and all sorts. Shoplifted and did all sorts of bad things at a young age. And I think I was a product of my environment. And, having done a lot of bad things at a young age, it kind of forced you to have courage to try out any other thing, So that's where I got courage to take risk and not be afraid of anything.
Wow.
And I think one of the biggest things that changed me was, I think I was in grade 10, and my young brother, who was a chartered accountant, bought me a book called Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson. And that's the first book I've ever read in my entire life. I was about 17 or 18.
Goodness.
And that book really changed my life. I saw a young kid, Richard Branson, at the time. Dropping out of grade 8 to have started a multinational company. It kind of convinced me that I can also do it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of believed in myself after reading the book.
Yeah.
And the biggest change came when my parents moved from Khayelitsha to Goodwood. So it kind of gave me a whole change
outlook in
how I see things.
Yeah.
So I think That's it.
And Zandi, growing up, I am very familiar with Khayelisha. I grew up in Khayelisha as well. Would you say that part of who you are was, or the core lessons that you learned there still live with you today and still are, you know, the driving force of who you are today?
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I really learned from growing up in Khayelitsha was to be courageous and not be scared of anything. And my drive in particular, I got it from my father.
Wow.
My father lost his dad at a very young age. He was 9 years old with about four sisters. And he had to help his mother out, you know. Worked at ShopRite check-ins and dropped out of school and stuff. So he grew up with so much resentment towards his father that his dad died and left him nothing. So when I had a son, I told myself, I used my dad's pain to fuel me. That I don't ever want to put my son in that predicament. You know, should I die or leave Earth today, I know my son is well taken care of, you know, with the legacy that I'm trying to build for him.
Would you say that your biggest struggle was to make it, to make a success of yourself? Is that?
I'd be lying if I said yes. The biggest struggle was convincing myself to believe that I can do it.
Wow. So you mean the man that we see today had those insecurities, had those?
I mean, given the environment, you know, I mean, it seemed at the time it seemed very difficult to take a dream from the sky and reach for it, you know. Because I remember at a young age, I used to tell my friends at the time that one day I will employ them.
Yeah.
And they laughed at me and looked at me and said, "You must be crazy."
Yeah.
And, you know, these are the things I kept on telling them, you know, I'd be a billionaire one day, I'll be a millionaire one day, but they didn't see it. I don't blame them, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, so having them doubt me kind of really inspired me in a way that, you know, I don't have to prove anything to them, but I have to prove it to myself. I owe me that much. So I think that's what really
pushed you.
Yeah.
Zandi, a lot of people are afraid of failing in life. You know, they are scared of the failures. They are scared of starting something because of potentially not making it or failing. What are some of the things or some of the core lessons that you would say you've learned through setbacks in your life and potentially failures as well?
Well, I failed a lot. And I realize each and every failure has a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, there's a blessing that comes with each failure. And I don't know how many businesses I've started, and some of them have failed. But when I sit down and look back, I thank God that they failed, because I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't have learned what I had to learn at the time. So I think whoever's afraid of failing is not really living, you know, because as Steve Jobs once said, knowing that you're gonna die at some point is the main reason why you should try things, you know, because nobody's gonna make it out of life alive. So just go for it, try whatever it is. If it doesn't work, go for the next one.
Give us an example maybe of one failure that you would say you went through that set you back a little, you know, but taught you something for maybe a next venture or as a lecturer, or, you know.
I had a ladies' boutique where I sold shoes and stuff.
Ladies' boutique.
Yeah.
So not the ideal ladies' boutique that.
I sold ladies' shoes. You know, so it was high heels and good stuff. I think my biggest failure was trusting a lot of people. You know.
Okay.
Because I know that I'm generally a good person.
Yeah.
And that I think the next person as well has a genuine heart and a genuine interest, that if I give them goods worth 5,000 rand, they'll pay me back at the agreed date.
Okay.
And you never hear from them,
Goodness.
you know. And even in my previous companies as well, going into partnership,
Yes.
you know, you go into a business trusting a partner that you know what they're going to live to the end of the terms
Yeah.
and stuff, and they never do, and that's okay. Because
Yeah.
as I've said, each failure and each mistake teaches you for your next project or something.
For your next venture. That's very ideal, I would say, because sometimes people push you to yourself. They push you back to the drawing board of your own life, basically. So it always serves as a blessing.
Absolutely.
So when you look at yourself, do you look at yourself and go, I'm successful? I am a success.
Well,
because we look at you and we think you're successful. But when you look at the mirror, do you go, Mara, yes, I'm good. I'm good.
Let me answer this. I think I see myself as a very grateful person for what I have. But am I successful to a point where I want to be? Not yet. I'm still far from it. But I'm grateful for every little thing that I have.
Yeah. So you not the billionaire, but you are the millionaire.
Technically.
Type of guy. Okay, that makes sense. And what did it take for you to actually change, or what does it still take for you to not be the stereotypical kind of a guy? You know, what kind of pushes you? I mean, I see you going to gym every single morning. I see you pushing, hustling, you know, getting your hands dirty, working hard every single day. What does it take for you to not be the stereotypical man, you know?
I think it's embedded in my routine, what I do before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And what I do first thing when I wake up.
Yeah.
I wake up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sheesh. Successful people.
And I pen letters to myself. And I count 5 to 10 things I'm grateful for every day before I go to the gym.
Wow.
So that kind of prepares me for the day to handle whatever comes along.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'll notice that if I don't practice my routine, I'll have a better day.
Yeah.
So I try to make it a point that every day by 4 a.m. I'm up.
Yeah.
Count my blessings, write letters to my old self, how I see myself when I'm 50, 60, 70, 80. And count 5 to 10 things I'm grateful for.
Wow.
That helps me win my day.
You know what? They say behind every successful man is a successful woman. And just to turn things up a bit, you know, when we think of that statement and we hear the name Jay-Z, we think of Beyonce. When we hear Stedman, we think of Oprah. When we hear of Romeo Khumalo, we think of Basetsana Khumalo. And when we hear of Zandisile Mkubukeli, who do we put next to him?
My mother.
Your mother.
Absolutely.
She's the driving force behind your success.
I mean, you know, we have this household routine, you know. Every day at 9:30, 9 o'clock, lights out, there's a prayer. You know, we pray every day. And I remember when I had a son, and I was in my second year of college, university, and my dad said I should drop out
of
go
university.
work, and go work so I can feed my son.
Yeah.
And my mom said, hell no.
Hell no.
You know, I'll rather finance everything. I didn't finish the studies. And I finished the diploma. I went to do another degree as well. And my dad still didn't see the point of me furthering my studies.
Yeah.
But my mom encouraged me and was very supportive.
Yeah.
That, you know, go to school and study. And then when it was time to do my MBA, my mom was like, no. That's too much, go work now.
Yeah.
So she's always been a very driving force. She's always been supportive. And she's always encouraged us to go to church every Sunday, talk to God, pray.
Do you?
I do go to church. I think this year I've only missed church. I was in Joburg for a week or so. So I've only missed church twice this year.
Wow.
But I make it a point every Sunday I'm in church.
Are you still a ladies' man?
It depends how you define it.
Okay, so have the definitions changed since high school days?
Ladies,
Where
man, and
you were every lady wanted to be around Zandi, the charmer.
As you grow old, you get to realize.
I know a lot of people are very interested in this question, and that's why I'm asking it.
Caught me off guard.
Yes, it's drive.
Well, I'm not really a ladies' man in a way. But if you put it in this instance, where do I surround myself with positive ladies?
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Do I try and empower and encourage women?
Mm-hmm.
Of course I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I have certain relationships? No, I don't.
Mm-hmm. And you choose not to at this time of your life, or is it just?
I mean, they just never work out. You know, you meet someone, they pretend to be the so-called supportive, and and you just realize that it's not working. And to a certain extent, I'm very selfish with my time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Every hour, every minute, every second counts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it.
Well, okay, ladies, that was your 1 minute from Zandi. Told you he's single. That's all I'm saying. Zandi, 2 things you would say to somebody young that would like to start up a business, do his MBA, or go to university, whatever it is. What are 2 things that you would say to somebody who basically wants to start up and do something with their life right now?
Don't plan too much.
Okay.
Just don't plan too much. Because in my experience, I've had a lot of friends,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing that comes to mind when they want to start a business
Mm-hmm.
is drafting up a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people might say this is crazy or whatever the case is, but I feel that the process of creating a business plan kind of limits you,
Mm-hmm.
and it might even prevent you from even starting.
Really?
So I think what's important is a model.
Okay.
Like a 5-step process.
Okay.
You do A, B, C, D, and whatever the case is, boom, there's a client. They're gonna pay you. So what are those 5 things
Okay.
that you can do in order to create a product, take it to the customer, make sure the customer pays you,
Yeah.
follow up, ask the customer, are they happy, what can you improve?
Yeah.
So drafting up a business plan, you gotta create a company description,
Yeah.
you gotta do marketing, industry analysis, and all that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of the reasons why a lot of people never start, because they say they want to plan it first. I said just jump.
Yeah.
Everything else, you'll learn it along the way.
But that's what we learn in school, though, and as a teacher or a lecturer who did business studies.
As a lecturer, I always told my students not to listen or read those textbooks, because sometimes you read a textbook, it tells you do this, do that before you do that.
Yes.
And then you look at people who've actually started businesses.
Okay.
They've never really had a plan.
Yeah.
The only thing that they had was the product,
Mm-hmm.
and they learned to fine tune it as they went along.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think what I've learned at university is be able to read and make your own judgment.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what someone has to say,
Yeah.
but source your own opinions,
Mm-hmm.
make a judgment thereafter.
Yeah. 5 people that inspire you or influence your life, and the reasons why.
5 people.
5 people.
Wow. I think the first person has to be Richard Branson,
Mm-hmm.
because growing up as a teenager, he was my role model.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I learned from him was to be courageous
Yeah.
and don't be handicapped by a situation or whatever it is. I know a lot of people who've lost loved ones and who went through certain things and stuff, but use that as a what's it called? They use it as like
Almost
an
like
experience to justify why they can't do A, B, C, and D.
Yeah,
You know, so that's the first person. And the second person has to be Bill Gates. I'm sorry for mentioning all billionaires, but I'm just inspired and driven by billionaires.
It's in the same WhatsApp group.
You know, so it's Bill Gates.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at, I'm not sure if you've seen his up close video when he reads a book. You know, you see how fast his eye goes when reading a sentence.
So it's almost like he's looking for key points.
You know,
everything else doesn't matter.
So he's very meticulous. You know, and that's one thing I took from him. So and then there's Petrus Motsepe.
Yes.
You know, he's the first black billionaire. You know, he's very humble.
Yeah.
So that's what I took from him.
Yeah.
He's very humble, respectful.
Yeah.
And you'll never hear anything about him.
Yeah.
You know, so
bulldozer works under.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then there's Warren Buffett. And he's a numbers guy.
Yeah.
You know, and there's Warren Buffett. And the fifth person, well, that's a tough one.
Can I choose the fifth person for you?
Yes, you can.
Jay-Z.
Well,
when I see you, I see.
Let me drink my water, please.
Yeah, definitely. I see Jay-Z literally a man who's literally taken every single thing or every single lesson from the background. I was listening to one of his interviews where he said, you know, where he grew up in Marcy's, they would watch gangsters, you know, they would come around shooting, and, you know, when they see the gangsters, they go back home, and 10 minutes after, they go back to playing. And that sort of builds some sort of paranoia in him, but also a push and a drive to make it and to become a successful man. And he's a billionaire right now, you know, literally from nothing, from hustling. And that is, I see you as Jay-Z. I know you've got all these billionaires.
Okay.
Click.
I think one thing that I have in common with Jay-Z was coming from a very poor background.
Yeah.
And make it against all odds.
Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
I don't know much about Jay-Z. I'm not really a hip-hop fan. I don't follow rap. I don't follow any other artists.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay, one last question, Zani, before I let you go. I know you are very, very busy. What would you say to the 15-year-old Zandisile who needs to hear and who needs to know what this Zandisile knows and has? So how would you advise your 15-year-old self?
I think I'd tell him to choose his friends carefully. And be careful of the people you surround himself with.
Yeah.
And know that whatever it is that you imagine or dreaming of, you can actually achieve it. Just, I'd tell him to believe in himself, choose a good circle of friends.
Yeah.
And don't listen to any friends, maybe family, and whatever the case is. Just be your own man.
Be your own man. And your friends.
Choose them carefully.
Choose them carefully.
Even your partner,
boyfriend,
girlfriend, wife, whatever it is. Just choose your partner wisely.
Okay, and lastly, quickly, because I know the camera lady is rolling for us to close up, but moving Chronicles, the next 5 years, where do we see it?
I think in the next 5 years, we want to have footprint across 4 to 5 provinces in South Africa, because if you look at Johannesburg, there's about 12 million people in Joburg.
Yeah.
There's 6.8 in Durban, 6.7 in Cape Town, the whole of Eastern Cape, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have footprint in those key provinces in South Africa.
Okay, so we definitely should look out for Moving Chronicles.
MC
Moving Chronicles. That is your logistics company that you need to look out for. Zandi, thank you so much.
It's
This was fun. It's so inspiring for me to see you here, and I need to tell you that you are one of the people that inspire me. I mean, we went to high school together. Like, I didn't think much. I was like, oh, Zandi, it's just like an irritation.
I don't blame you for that.
Yes. But looking at you now, like, I'm super inspired. I am driven and motivated. You are one of my driving factors to actually go back to gym, to start what it is that I'm doing right now. So I thank you for that. There's a lot of people that are looking up to you. I mean, when they hear the name Zandi, it's just like the whole room lights up like you're already there. So congratulations, with how far you've come. And I look forward to seeing you 5 years from now and potentially sitting with you as one of the, billionaires in Africa, probably even on the Forbes magazine. That's what I see for you.
Sorry. I think my fifth person have to be Aliko Dangote.
Okay.
Instead of Jay.
Okay. Sorry, Jay. I tried.
Aliko Dangote, of course.
Aliko
Dangote. Richest man in Africa. Black man from Nigeria.
Okay. Is he married?
Divorced 3 times.
There you go, ladies. I look out for y'all.
Okay, never mind.
Thank you very much, Zandi.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. And
thank you for having me. Thank you to, what's her name again? Michaela. Sorry about that, Michaela. Thank you so much.
And any last words you want to say to whoever's listening, watching, and definitely looking forward to hearing you? What do you want to say to those people?
To people watching. Growing up, I often hear a lot of people saying, it's Monday, they need to go back to work, and that gives me that sense that they're not happy doing what they're doing, and then you ask them, why are you still going to this place? And then they say, look, they've got bills to pay, they've got all these things. I just want to tell them that, look, you don't have to have everything figured out, just stop complaining about going to the same place that's boring or taking a bit of your life. Just do what you're happy about, just whatever it is, as long as you're happy. And don't worry about having everything figured out. God will make a way. Just start.
Just start.
That's all.
That's all you need to do, and you have heard it from Zandisile himself. I mean, I'm inspired, I'm motivated, and I am definitely going to use some of the tips that I've learned here today to make a success, and just basically change my generation. That's basically where we're headed here. Zandisile, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's only a pleasure, and I just want to thank Unana.
Unana.
Thank you, Nana.
Thank you, Nana. There you go. There you have it. From Zandisile Mkubukeli himself. I mean, if you're not inspired, then I do not know what more you want. I mean, hello, we have an inspiring billionaire on the show. What more? Anyway, that is all from us today. If you are not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. We will put Zandisile's details if you want to follow him, or Moving Chronicles, in the description below. So please make sure that, if you want to get connected, or if you want to know more about his company, we will put up the website, his page details, his Facebook details, and so forth. But that is all from us. Please remember, subscribe. It's absolutely free. Like the video, share it. If somebody that, I'm sure somebody that needs to hear what we've spoken about here, or what Zandisile had to say. So please do share it. Like it, subscribe. Like it, subscribe. I repeat, like it, subscribe. That's all from me, Zianda. Remember to be on the driver's seat of your own life. Take ownership if you need to put on the seatbelt, but drive.